I love a good old tarot tag video, so let's dig into my collection with these fun prompts. Hello everybody, it's Sylvie. Welcome or welcome back to Tarot Magpie. I hope you're doing all kinds of good today. I'm doing a fun little tag today that I first saw over on Julie's channel, Peekaboo Rose. This is the Show Us Your Decks tag that was started by Angel over at Reading My Soul. It's 15 questions, 15 decks. It's a really fun one, so let's get into it. Prompt number 1 is a deck you want to use but for whatever reason hasn't seen any playtime on your desk. I think I spoke about this fairly recently in my neglected decks video maybe, but the Pasta Tarot is the one I'm going with for this prompt. I want to use this. I've wanted this for like at least a good 2 years. I think it was maybe actually Angel's channel, one of Angel's videos, that first really put this deck on my radar. Angel and also Roxanne over at Buy Bun also loves this deck, talks about it a lot. It's so much fun. I really want to use it. Like I said in my neglected decks video, I think this is going to shine in summertime. Like, I think it's just such a fun summery deck. It's the color palette. It's the like really vibrant like reds and yellows. These backs, this like pink picnic blanket kind of backing feels very summery. So I think its time is coming. We've got some really gorgeous weather in Edinburgh lately. The sun's been out. We had a ridiculously hot, it was like 25 degrees the other day, which is honestly kind of concerning. But it was a glorious, glorious day to be outside. So I think the Pasta Tarot season is right around the corner. I can't wait to actually get to using this one. I think it is so much fun. Prompt number 2 is the 12th deck from the right on your tarot shelf. And I don't have a neat and tidy tarot shelf. I have clusters of decks. So what I have gone with is the 12th deck from the right in the storage on my desk. If you're a patron, you've seen this. I did a video recently. But that deck is the new Chapter Tarot. This is one of the decks that I want to work with in the, current season of my practice because I really like it. I think it's a really good little deck. And I need no more reason than that. So this is one I've pulled out and I've got sitting in front of me where I can see it every day. I simply adore this 6 of discs because this cat looks just enough like my sister's cat that also used to be my cat when I lived with her. It makes me feel very, very homesick. That's all there is to this one, really. It is a pretty, I don't want to say straightforward. It's, look at the 7 of Swords. It's not a straightforward interpretation of any system that I'm aware of in terms of the imagery. It feels kind of thothy in vibes because it's got all this like gorgeous geometry and symmetry, but it's not thothy in the actual images themselves. It just kind of feels thothy. It's, I think, pretty consistent with the Rider-Waite-Smith and the guidebook. The guidebook. I have so much beef with Liminal 11 decks, the way they like produce them, the way they package them, because why are you giving me this little hardcover book, but it's got like nothing in it? It's tiny. It's teeny tiny font, and there's like a paragraph per card. You could have given me, for the same footprint in the box, a paperback that had twice as many pages in it and like actual information about the cards. But, I'm a guidebook fan. I'm always going to want a bigger, better guidebook. So that's just me. But anyhow, my point was, I think it's pretty Rider-Waite-Smith consistent in the guidebook, but visually it's doing its own thing. I really enjoy it. It's quite a clear reader, quite a straightforward reader. Even if the images aren't like, it's not copy paste Rider-Waite-Smith by any stretch, but it's not too complicated to read, if that makes sense. I really like the interpretations, particularly in the majors. I think the minors are really, really beautiful. It's a gorgeous deck. And like, it's a bit, it does its own thing. Like this 6 of Swords is a bit grim. The 6 of Swords actually feels like a Marielle deck, a Marielle tarot card. Like not one in particular, just the vibes feel like a Marielle card. Anywho, I very much enjoy this, and it is currently sitting 12th from the right on my tarot shelf. Prompt number 3, a deck you are thinking of rehoming. It's the Grimalkin's Curious Cats Tarot. And of course, as soon as I pull it out, I'm like, why exactly am I thinking of rehoming this? Because it's beautiful. And that's the thing, I'm thinking of rehoming this. I've not decided. It's lovely. I just don't reach for it. And I do have 4 more of her decks, 4 more of her decks, including an Oracle deck, and 3 of her tarot decks. And like, do I need that many? I think not. Oh, it is really lovely. It's very springy. Very good for this time of year. It's very sweet. 5 more of her decks. I have 4 of her tarot decks and an Oracle deck. Anyway, like, it's so beautiful. It's not necessary, but it's so beautiful and it's so cheeky. And maybe I don't want to get rid of it. But that's why I'm thinking about rehoming it. I'm not decided. Essentially, it's just like a saturation point thing. Like, do I need this? Will I really miss it when it's gone? I think that's the thing. I very much enjoy it. I like having it, but I don't know that I'll miss it when it's gone, which I think, could probably be said about a fair few of my decks. Not every single deck that I own is like life changing. So I'm thinking about it. And that's really all there is to this one. And this is a fairly long tag. So that is a deck that I'm thinking of rehoming. It is the Gromolkin's Curious Cats. Prompt number 4 is a deck you don't store in its original box and why. And possibly you might recognize this. This is the Marielle Tarot, which I keep in this scarf. And the reason I don't keep this in its original box is because its original box is really bloody annoying. Its original box is too big for the deck. A little bit like this, the way this box is set up, there's like a inset for the deck in the center, and then there's a place for a guidebook to sit. This deck doesn't have a guidebook, so I don't know why it's like that. But the Marielle was a similar setup, and it was just huge. Like, it was easily over twice the size of the deck. It was deeply annoying, so I don't use that box anymore. I don't have that box anymore. So yeah, this one is quite straightforward. I don't like its original box, and that is why I keep it in this lovely silk scarf, which I looked for ages actually for a scarf that was the right color. It's absolutely throwing my white balance off, but this, like, vermilion, orangey red, this bright orangey red is such a feature of this deck. Bright orangey red and turquoise are the 2 colors of this deck for me, so I was really looking for a scarf or a wrap or a pouch or something that had one or both of these colors, and I feel like I did a pretty good job. Like, it's kind of bang on with this color in this page of wands here. And also it's got a phoenix on it, I think, or a bird of some description that I've decided is a phoenix. And the judgment card, I think it is, in this deck also has a phoenix on it. So I was like, that works very nicely. I bought it from a secondhand marketee thing. It came home with me. It now holds my Marielle Tarot. All right, prompt number 5, a deck with more or less than 78 cards. And since 78 is the number that is chosen, I'm going with a tarot deck. I could very easily pick an oracle deck. I am pulling out the Terra Volatile for this because it has a whole extra suit and some alternative major cards. And then you can also get this expansion deck. And I think this might be where this is where I've got the Vessels suit. And there's all sorts. There's a yes, no, you're asking the wrong questions. We've got our Vessels suit. And then there's loads of alternative cards. Like, we've got some alternative 2 of Cupses. I know that there's princesses as well as pages. There's some alternatives, and there's plenty of alternative mages as well, which I think is what's here. And honestly, I'm tempted to just put everything together and make one mega deck, which would truly be the size of 2 decks, because at the moment this is a 78 card deck. This is an extra suit and some alternatives, and then this pile is the additional mages, and I am really tempted to put a lot of these in, especially the renaming of, like, instead of the Hangman we've got Prudence, the other various virtues and things. I don't know who I've got, if it's called the Devil in the one I've chosen. And I think I've got the big guidebook as well, which I think has some distinctions in the meanings. Like, here, the poetry instead of the sun, I think, is really interesting. This is hubris instead of the tower. Misery collector for death is kind of fun. Yeah, like art instead of temperance. Time instead of the hermit. I really like this. Chaos instead of the fool, which I really like. The crossroads instead of the lovers, I think, is interesting. The Pope, I think I've got Dogma in my deck at the moment. Basically, this is a whole mix and match situation. Like I said, there are even these like bonus cards. Yes, no, you're asking the wrong questions. There's a whole extra suit. There is alternatives for so many of the cards. It's really cool. It's really interesting. I love this deck a lot. I feel like I haven't played with it in a while. But yeah, that is the Terra Volatile. Right, prompt number 6, a deck with a cloud on the box. I have pulled out the Raven's Dream Tarot, which is another one of the MJ Cullinane decks that I mentioned when I was talking about Grimalkin's Curious Cats. It being a dreamy deck, you would expect to see some clouds, and here is the one on the box on the back, and also a cloud on the front here. I love this deck an awful lot, and there are clouds all the way through it as well. So it feels correct, it feels appropriate. I also adore the cardstock of this deck, which is half the reason I pulled this out, because technically all I had to show you was the box. But it's beautiful. I did these turquoise edges to try and match the borders. See, this one I would miss if I didn't have it in my collection, I think, and I just don't quite feel the same about the Grimalkin's Curious Cats. So anywho, that was my deck with a cloud on the box, the Raven's Dream. Prompt number 7, a deck you've never shown on your channel. Okay, so this was really tricky because I show things. I do hauls, and I also did a whole deck collection sometime last year. But the Rotten Tarot is actually an oracle deck, and this is a deck that I have not yet showed on my YouTube channel. So this will be in a video because I do hauls kind of quarterly, because I'm not buying, tens of decks all the time. This is the only deck I bought in the last month. This was a Kickstarter that came in at some point in April, and it's really weird, and I enjoy that. I love a weird deck. We know this about me. So yeah, that's all there is to say, really. It's a weird one. I haven't played with it yet. I haven't really read with it yet. It's weird, and I love weird. I needed no more reason than that. And so the only reason you haven't seen this on the channel yet is just because I haven't put it in a haul video yet. Prompt number 9, a deck that comes in a box inside another box. I may be somewhat cheating with this because I've taken the inner box out, but this is the impossible to remove. This is the Wisdom of Place deck. It did come with a tuck box that these cards were in, but I decided to just take them out and put it in this box because this, as you may have seen, is really stiff, so it's not going to accidentally fall out and throw my cards everywhere. I've mentioned this on my channel, I'm sure, not loads. Talked about it more on Patreon, but it is an interesting one. This is another one that I don't treat this as a tarot deck because it's nothing to do with the system of tarot, and I have gripes and grievances with the production quality of this. I think they did it a disservice, but I think the concept's really cool. So it stays, and it's actually also on my table on my decks I want to be using in the foreseeable future because I think it's really cool. So that is the Wisdom of Place Elements of Sacred Landscape deck. Prompt number 10 is a deck that would not appear in a top 10 favorites video. And for this, I went with Midnight Magic. And basically, as much as I like this deck, and I do really like this deck, I don't think it's ever going to be top 10 status. It's a little bit too abstracted from the card meanings to make it like an all-time forever favorite, although I do really enjoy it. I do really like having it in my collection. I just think that my top 10 favorites are a little bit hard to beat, and I just don't know that it will do that. But I do very much enjoy this. I don't want to bash the deck because anything that I think wouldn't be in my top 10 just because I don't think it's any good, like that doesn't stay in my collection very long. So even decks that I'm contemplating getting rid of, like the Grimalkin's Curious Cats Tarot, it's not because I think it's a bad deck or because I dislike it. I just don't know that I really need it in my collection. Whereas this one does occupy a unique spot in my collection. I don't have anything else quite like this, either visually, thematically with the guidebook. So yeah, this is my not a top 10, but definitely still a deck that I enjoy. It is the Midnight Magic. All right, we're a little bit out of order here because I realized we skipped a prompt, but this is what should have been prompt number 8, a deck with another animal besides a lion in the strength card. And I've pulled out the Zeke's Arcana. Oh, those edges. So sitting here on top, because I did have to check, this is the strength card and we don't have a lion. We have this tiger, but it's a little unicorn tiger, which I think is just delightful. I love this deck as a whole. Honestly, I'm surprised it's not weirder because there are certainly some weird little guys in this deck. We've got this like harpy in the chariot. I know there's like some snail guys going on. Like it's a weird one, and I enjoy that. So I am honestly a little surprised this isn't a weirder strength card. And I'm sure I've got lots of decks with something that isn't a lion in the strength card, but this was the first one that I thought would fit, and lo and behold, it does. So that is the Zeke's Arcana. All right, prompt number 11 is a deck you associate with the color green. And I have pulled out the Naturescapes Tarot primarily because of these backs and also these edges I did. I did this like ombre attempt at like an ombre edging. The card fronts themselves have a good deal of green in plenty of them. You know, it's a nature tarot. There's going to be lots of green, lots of trees, lots of landscapes. Certainly not in all of the cards. Like here we go, the moon, but there's plenty of green. But it is mostly the edges and also the backs are the reason that I think of this as a green deck, because I spent so long looking at the backs probably while painting, coloring this in green, and this was quite a lengthy process because I had to go over each card with 3 different colors. So I spent quite a long time playing with this deck while I was etching it. So that is the Naturescapes Tarot for my green deck. All right, prompt number 12, a secondhand, pre-loved, pre-owned, thrifted deck. And I have grabbed the Dragon Tarot, which is one that honestly deserves more love from me. And I'm so pleased. This is in impeccable condition. I did get this secondhand off eBay, I think. But I was just so impressed when it arrived because it is in gorgeous, gorgeous condition. The edges are so like clean and neat and tidy. It's not like warped or frayed. You know, when the edges of your deck sometimes get like frayed. It's in gorgeous condition, but it is pre-loved, pre-owned. I did buy this secondhand. I don't use this a whole ton, and I really wish I did. It's beautiful. I love Peter Perkonik's artwork. He also illustrated the Hobbit tarot that I have. I think he's done like a Dragon Oracle as well, which I would quite like to add to my collection. Because I love a dragon. I am a fantasy reader, fantasy person. And I love me a dragon. I love me a good dragon book. This is, I think, beautiful. I love it very much. That is the Dragon Tarot. Okay, we are getting there. Prompt number 13, a deck in your collection with the most used guidebook. And lately it has been the Awakening Tarot, which has this gorgeous chunky guidebook. You can see from how it's like warped that I have been abusing this. I crack the spines on my books, and this one is not happy about it because the spine is not very well sewn in. It's like you can see it's glued in. So it's not been happy that I've been abusing it. But this is fantastic. I started using this loads during March over on Patreon. I run the Tarot Lab. We focus on a different theme or a different something about reading. And in March, it was the elements. So I was, of course, using this Awakening Tarot, an elemental approach. I was reaching for the guidebook loads. I really enjoy how at the start of each section, for each suit, there is like an introduction to the elements. So here, the element of fire, keywords, manifestations, exercising, healing with fire, spell, reflection questions. And then for each card, there are also loads of different ways of looking at the card. There's reflection questions. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. There's some elemental spreads at the back as well. So I was using it loads during our elemental tarot lab in March, and I just haven't really put it down since. And I think this could easily become a deck, or rather a guidebook that I reach for even for other decks, because as a way of interacting with the cards is just fantastic. Like I said, there's these reflection questions that upright, reversed, and shadow meanings. So there's lots of different aspects to the card. And I think that a lot of these reflection questions, if you're the type to like long form journal your tarot readings, that could be really valuable to you as well. So the Elemental Tarot is definitely at the moment my most used guidebook. I don't know what my most used guidebook of all time is, but this is definitely a contender. A penultimate prompt is a deck with water on the box, for which I have reached for the Every Little Thing You Do is Magic tarot, because this is water on the box. What else is there to say? And I'm just flipping through because I think this deck is so beautiful. I was actually struggling a little bit with this prompt. I either don't have as many decks with water on the box as I thought, or I just wasn't looking at them. And I didn't want to go for the obvious answer, which would have been the Sea Soul Journeys Oracle, because that felt like cheating. It's not cheating, but it felt like it. So I wanted to find something that I had to like search a little bit more for. And thus I reached for the Every Little Thing You Do is Magic tarot. All right, the final prompt. Prompt number 15 is a deck with your most favorite card and why. And first of all, how dare you? How dare you? Second of all, I'm not married to this answer. I don't know what my most favorite card of all time is, but this is the Ritual Tarot, which does have two cards that I love very much. And the way I went about this answer was to think about decks that I have that I associate with one card in particular. And for the Ritual Tarot, there's actually two. If you've been here for any length of time, I expect you know who I am talking about. I love this deck just generally. It's beautiful, but it is the Ace of Pentacles and the Princess of Cups. Here we go. There's our Ace of Pentacles. I just think it's stunning. And the Princess of Cups, there she is. These two cards, which I pull out every single time I pull this deck out, I just think they're so beautiful. It's not even because I think they're particularly strong renditions of their cards, although I very much like them as their cards. I just think they're beautiful pieces of art. Like, I want prints of these cards to like hang up, or rather to not hang up, because I have so many prints that I haven't hung up. But I want, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm getting at? I want these as artwork in my home. So that is what I went for, because I was trying to think about, well, what are my favorite renditions of a certain card? And I just can't choose. So based on pure artistic gorgeousness, the Ritual Tarot is that deck. But like I say, don't hold me to that. I'm liable to change my mind. All right, there we have it. That was the Show Us Your Decks tag. Thank you, Angel, for creating the tag. I will link Angel's video as well as Julie's video down in the description if you haven't already seen them. This was such a fun one. I love a showing off decks video. I love my collection. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for spending some time with me. Let me know what you thought of this one. Give me a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're interested in my Patreon, in the Tarot Lab, in the bonus videos I do over there is a link in the description to come check us out. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.